Ladies and gents, welcome back. As you may recall, Valentine's Day marked the day Justin Trudeau declaring his love for the Constitution of Canada by suspending civil liberties using the never-before-used Emergencies Act, invoking that because of the danger of bouncy castles in downtown Ottawa. Now, we're learning that there was a movement to thwart his efforts of reigning supreme leader with the Emergencies Act in Canada. Now we have here from True North, Trudeau-appointed senator says that there was a movement to stop the Emergencies Act. A senator appointed by Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said that there was a movement underway, including Liberals, to bring an end to the Trudeau government's implementation of the Emergencies Act in February, and that the government was aware that the movement of that movement on the day that it pulled the plug. Manitoba Senator Marilou McPhedran made the comments last week during the closed minutes of a government panel decision on the 40th anniversary of the Charter Rights and Freedoms. Here's her statement here.
Just to point out that the day on which the declaration was ended by the government, there was already a movement among a significant number of senators and MPs, including some Liberals, to come up with the requisite signatures to begin the process of ending the declarations. And that we didn't end up having to do that. The government was well aware that we were fairly far along in creating that joint letter that was required under the particular section, and instead there was the decision to suspend.
Thank you.
So looking like Justin Trudeau didn't have the support that he was declaring out there at the time. Immediately after those remarks, McPhedran included a discussion saying that after 40 years with the Charter, many of the interpretations that seem to make sense no longer make sense for Canadian society as it is now. You could probably consult with Brian Peckford. He's still around. He helped. He was a co-signatory on that exact document. So if you're unfamiliar with what it is that they had in mind, well, you can always just go consult with him. And so leaving here today, well, I'm hoping that where we have consensus is the need not for the awareness rising, but actually for much deeper, stronger civics education, charter-based education, not only in our schools, not only in our higher education institutions, but throughout our society. Because if we don't know our rights, we cannot live our rights. True North reached out to McPhedran for clarification about the movement, but received no response by the time of this publication. So it may be the case that they do reach out. So stay tuned to True North for this. Trudeau appointed McPhedran to the Senate in 2016. Appointed McPhedran to the Senate in 2016 as an independent after expelling Liberal senators from the caucus in 2014. The move left Trudeau free to appoint senators, but also to call them independent of the Liberal Party, which, you can form your own opinion about that. The Trudeau government invoked the never before used Emergencies Act on February 14th. Happy Valentine's Day, Canada. Saying that the legislation's powers were required to deal with ongoing protests against pandemic restrictions, including the Freedom Convoy in Ottawa. There's a high level of frustration that the situation has gone on as long as it has, says Trudeau, who at the time spent no effort of diplomacy or discussing anything with these people. These people have gone from protesting and disagreeing with those COVID-19 measures to limiting and blocking the freedoms of their fellow citizens. He's just doing this by inferring this information telepathically, I'm assuming, not by actually speaking with these fellow citizens. Trudeau refused to revoke the act even after a joint force of municipal, provincial, and federal police crackdown on freedom protesters between February 17th and 20th. Instead, the Liberal government used NDP support to extend its emergency powers in a parliamentary vote on February 21st, an extension that could have kept them going until mid-March before they were required to be reviewed. If you're unsure of how your representative voted, I have a list of their votes right here, and you can check it out for yourself, and just keep that in mind next time you're given the chance to vote for or against that individual. I'll leave a link to this in the description down below. You could even get a hold of them and express how you feel about that particular decision. Now, when the vote was to be confirmed in the upper house, however, senators expressed open frustration with being expected to rubber stamp the Trudeau government's decision without access to the information that had led to it. So they were supposed to just vote for it, but not know why. That is how things work in Canadian government, apparently, under the Justin Trudeau's government. This is a serious step that we're contemplating here today, said Conservative Senator Elizabeth Marshall. What exactly happened What exactly happened that the government decided to invoke the act? Because it seemed like for 3 or 4 weeks there was nothing. They were just tolerating it. Mounting opposition to the government's decision both to implement and prolong the Emergencies Act, with Trudeau revoking it on February 23rd. A lot of people surprised about that. His decision quickly to revoke the Emergencies Act. The situation is no longer an emergency. Therefore, the federal government will be ending the use of the Emergencies Act. They were confident that the existing bylaws to be sufficient to keep people safe. A review committee of the use of the Emergencies Act has been launched as required by law. Last week, 15 civil rights groups called for the inquiry to be independent and transparent. It should not be married by partisan fights. Petitioners wrote, "We are concerned about the use of state and police powers to suppress constitutional rights." True North are also writing here that they reached out to Conservative opposition Senator Leader Don Plett and will be updating the story as soon as new information becomes available. Now, of course, Trudeau claiming that what was happening at the time during the protest was illegal and he needed to use the Emergencies Act to do this. Of course, a judge ruled that the convoy protest was legal. And now Ottawa is being sued over this. Of course, you're not going to read about this in CBC. You probably won't read about it on CTV or Global. This was an article from the Farmers Forum. I mean, this is where we have to go to find news these days. We have to engage with farmers forums, even urban citizens. This is the world we live in, ladies and gentlemen. But definitely go over to the Farmers Forum and subscribe, bookmark it, get in there, because it seems like that's where a lot of journalism is happening today, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, here we are in a fight with the government over what they are allowed to do. Now, what do we say from here? I guess the question of the day today is, well, if they invoked the Emergencies Act and then revoked it, and knowing full well that it wouldn't have held, does that mean that the Emergencies Act during the time that they were using the powers of the Emergencies Act are illegal, or is there recourse against the government for usurping powers that go against the Charter of Rights and Freedoms? Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think and share with the community. I noticed that there's all kinds of ongoing conversations in the community in the comment section down below. So get part of that community, join in with the conversation. We'll see you in the next video. Keep on trucking.